Welcome to Optimistic Met Fan. This is your host, Frank Osberg, and we're going to be talking about opening day for the New York Mets. Now, right now, they don't officially have a opening day roster officially on the books yet, but word from the Mets website was that once they get to Houston on Wednesday, they're going to have a brief practice, and then they will straighten all that out. But I actually wanted to do a little bit of a fun activity and kind of figure out who I thought was going to be on the opening day roster, because some of the people we all kind of know and love already. Pete Alonso, obviously, Francisco Lindor, Mark Vientos, Juan Soto, Brandon Nemo, Jose Siri, Tyrone Taylor, Starling Marte, everybody's favorite lunatic, Jesse Winker, Luis Torrens, and then we're going to have a platoon with Acuna and Brett Beatty for second base due to Jeff McNeil being injured. He has an oblique strain, but Mendoza was saying in an interview earlier this week that he should be ready in a couple of weeks. So it's going to be a little bit of a competition for the young guys, Brett Beatty and Acuna. I think that's going to be exciting. It's always good to see the young guys kind of fight for a spot. Only one of them was actually going to get one, so we'll see actually who's going to be sent down in a couple of weeks. And also, Hayden Sanger is going to be the backup catcher, and he'll be the 13th position player on the team to start on opening day, most likely. Francisco Alvarez is recovering from a broken hand, so he will be out at least the first month of the season. Hopefully, we get him back in May, because I was really looking for him to have his breakout season, his third season as the Mets catcher. But, we'll see where that goes. Hopefully, Luis Torrens could hold down the fort. See, that was kind of the easy part with the Mets lineup. The pitching's a little bit more complicated, especially with the bullpen. We have Paul Blackburn, who's going to be the odd man out of the rotation. I'm actually thankful for this because I'm really not feeling Paul Blackburn on the New York Mets. I don't think he's going to last too long. But the starting rotation, yet again for the New York Mets, is going to be one of kind of throwing guys out there and seeing what you have. We have, obviously, Kodai Senga coming back from being out last year. Lots riding on his third year as a New York Met. So he's going to be starting the fifth game. But starting opening day, believe it or not, is going to be Clay Holmes, who had a fantastic spring training. Pitched to 19 innings in 4 starts, had an ERA under 1, and looks really comfortable with his transition from being a reliever to a starter. So we'll see where that actually goes. I don't think you could really expect a lot from him early on, but hopefully as the year goes on, he can prove everybody wrong, which has been the Mets' starting pitching MO since Mendoza took over last season. Then we have everybody's favorite guy who just seems to never go away, but is always Mr. Reliable, Tylor Megill. He's going to be pitching in Game 2 in Houston. And then Griffin Canning is going to be pitching Game 3. And he's one of these guys who kind of made the team only because of the early injuries to the starting staff. And then we have David Peterson, who's going to round out the starting 5. The 2 guys on the IL is Sean Manaea, last year's ace. He is also suffering from an oblique. That seems to be something that happens a lot during spring training, so not really worried about it. But he should be back by mid to late April. And then we got Frankie Montas, who is going to be out for the foreseeable future, probably a couple of months. I don't really expect him back until around the All-Star break or later. So one of these guys is going to be lasting. But the Mets do want to go to a 6-man rotation, so they should be fine. Paul Blackburn, as I mentioned before, is going to be the long man in the bullpen. That's usually not a place you want to be if you're a starting pitcher, but right now Paul Blackburn is going to be holding that role. And as the bullpen goes, it looks like it's going to be Ryan Stanek, who's coming back from last season. You got Reed Garrett, who I personally love. I think he's a bulldog on the mound, and he has that mad dog mentality that everybody loves. You have Jose Budo, who's coming back, and right now it looks like you have AJ Minter is going to be ready for opening day, which is very good. He was a lefty reliever from Atlanta. We were able to steal in free agency. We have Edwin Diaz, and then kind of still we don't know yet, and this is probably what Mendoza and David Stearns is going to have to figure out. We don't know if Hiskar, I always get his first name wrong, but Brazaban and Max Kranick, who I actually hope he gets the job as the last man in the bullpen. He's been fantastic in spring. He's a guy we picked up last season off of waivers, a pitcher that I believe it was the Chicago Cubs cut him, and we were able to pick him up, and he kind of has manifested into this bullpen kind of Swiss Army knife guy who has a really good fastball and some really good off-speed pitches. I really hope he makes the team. If not, it will be Brazaban, and of course we have last year's surprise out of the farm system, Daniel Nunez, coming off the IL in a couple of weeks. So we'll see where the Mets go with their bullpen. But honestly, I think this is kind of where the Mets going to have to go to start the season because you really don't have a lot of options in AAA right now. You have Brandon Sproat, obviously, is a young phenom pitcher that's in AAA, but David Stearns noted in one of the last spring training games that they didn't want to rush him into going into the starting rotation at the beginning of the season. They wanted to see what he can do in AAA, but very high hopes for him to join the team in 2025. Like many other prospects, you need to get your feet wet in AAA first and prove yourself before you could come to the Major League club. So that's really where the team stands with the pitching. Other pitching prospects seem to be too far away, as I should say, to making the team this year. But 2026 looks like a year where we're going to see a lot of these young guys blossom and hopefully join the Major League club. As far as the offense, I think they're pretty much set with their opening day lineup, how they want to line it up. It looks like Francisco Lindor is going to lead off like he did last season. You're going to have Juan Soto batting second and Pete Alonso batting third. I personally love this because in the first inning, you can really jump on the team early with these three guys. Last year they did struggle scoring runs early. And, with those three guys, I don't think there's a better three to start a game in baseball other than maybe the LA Dodgers with, Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman. That seems to be the only three that really you could argue is better than what the Mets have going into a game. Cleanup hit is going to be an interesting spot for the New York Mets, especially early on. It looks like they're going to go with Mark Vientos and then have Brandon Nimmo bat fifth. But I guess that's going to depend. They're saying on matchups, so I'm assuming against a lefty, you'll have Mark Vientos as the cleanup hitter, and then you'll go with Brandon Nimmo if it's a right-handed batter. That seems to be the way they're going to do it. In the sixth spot, it looks like they're thinking about Starling Marte. It's DH, platooning that role with Jesse Winker. Again, that's going to be a matchup thing. I don't really think you're going to get a steady lineup every single night. Looks like they might go with lefty-righty matchups with those guys. Or, honestly, it might even be who has the hottest hand. Usually, you want to go with the guy who's hitting, obviously, in the DH spot. You don't want a guy that's going to be going 0 for 8, 0 for 12, and just force him out there. If Jesse Winker's playing better, he's probably going to get the role. If it's Starling Marte, you always have one of those guys coming off the bench late in the game that could definitely impact the game in a different way. So I'm not really worried about those two. The seventh spot was probably going to be Alvarez, but he's hurt, so I really don't know where they're going to go 7, 8, and 9 now. My guess, because he's had a great spring, probably going to be Brett Beatty if he starts at second base. And then you'll go with Luis Torrens at catcher. And looks like no matter what, Jose Siri is going to be the ninth hitter due to the fact that he's there for his defense mostly, not his offense. He did hit 25 home runs 2 years ago, but, he's a swing and miss guy, swings out a lot, he strikes out a lot. He's not a guy that I would want batting 7th or 8th. I'd rather have him bat 9th. If you surprise the team with a home run, that's a plus. But really, he's only there for his defense. Other than that, for the opening day, it is what it is with the New York Mets. You're going to have to see where you could improve as the year goes on. Opening day is a funny thing. You have teams that, like Houston Astros, who are going to be playing, have a rookie third baseman prospect. He's going to be starting in right field in Cam Smith. So, there's a lot of ups and downs on opening day. A lot of weird things happen. Jose Altuve is going from second base to left field. So honestly, on opening day, you're really hoping that guys just could get into a nice rhythm, see where you're at after the first couple of games, and then go from there. After we face Houston, we're going to Miami for 3 games. That's going to be right before we go home for our home opener on April 4th. That's going to be against the Blue Jays. Again, you really want to get off on the right foot. You don't want to be 2-4 going home. This is a new year of Juan Soto. I think everybody has high expectations. The team has high expectations. They had this little bit of a swagger in spring training I haven't seen in a long time. It feels like they believe they could win. They know they could win. Last year, they kind of just hit a wall against a great LA Dodgers team. Now you add in Juan Soto. I mean, that guy wears swagger all over the place. That guy's just incredible. His first at bat as a Met in spring training, it was a home run. Nothing's too big for this guy. It looks like he fits right into the Mets clubhouse. I couldn't be more happy to have him on the team. Honestly, I hated facing him when he was on the Nationals, when he was a rookie, and then obviously last year with the Yankees, what he did with Aaron Judge was incredible. Got to the World Series. He's a game changer for the New York Mets. They needed a guy like this to get to the next level. Last year was a test for the Mets. It was a so-called transitional season. Transitional season ended with the Mets being 2 games away from the World Series without Juan Soto. So when a lot of players heard he was coming to the Mets, when a lot of fans heard he was coming to the Mets, the buzz in New York was incredible. It was like Christmas morning when we all heard it. I believe it was close to midnight, maybe. I think it was on a Friday night. I was on the way to work, and we all got these alerts on our phones that Juan Soto signed with the New York Mets and not the New York Yankees. And that was just... New York is... The Mets, as far as New York, they're taking over the city right now. I'm seeing a lot of orange and blue. I'm not trying to throw a dig at any Yankee fans, especially ones that I know. You're still the team that everybody's trying to be like, but to tell you the truth, the city moves when the Mets are doing good. And I noticed it a lot last year. I noticed it a lot during the offseason, especially right after the Juan Soto signing. There's a buzz in the air that wasn't there a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, before last season. And now it's, could we make the playoffs? That's not even the question. That used to be the question every year. Can we just make the playoffs and see? Honestly, it's now, we're at the adult table. This is not just let's go make the playoffs. This is, we're going to make the playoffs and let's win a World Series. That's why Juan Soto came here. That's why, I wanted to start this show, because they're fun to talk about again. They're not just the team that, every 5 years we can talk about the New York Mets. No, this team is meaning business right now. When you hear the players talk, all of them are saying, last year was a stepping stone. This year I look to improve on this, that. I saw Mark Vientos taking grounders in a spring training highlight, working on his defense. This is the guy who wants to be one of the best third basemen in baseball. This is what Carlos Mendoza is preaching to all these players, is let's get better. Let's improve in areas that we aren't good at. Pete Alonso is working on defense still. He's looking to redeem himself as a prolific home run hitter. Even though 2 years ago he hit 46 and everybody claimed it was a down season because of his batting average, Pete hits home runs. That's what Pete Alonso does. That's what he's always done. I'm actually stoked because this year, all you Met fans know he's chasing a record that has never been broken by a Met, and that's the home run record. Um, I actually thought we were going to see it with David Wright, but unfortunately he got injured, spinal stenosis, and had to retire from baseball a little bit early. You know, I wish it was David Wright that was breaking this record, but it's going to be really awesome seeing Pete break this home run record. He needs 27 home runs to break it. He's going to pass David Wright, and then he's going to pass Darryl Strawberry. And, the Straw Man, sorry, dude, you had that record since '86. Well, not '86, probably after '86, but you were the man in New York as far as the New York Mets home run leader. I'm very excited that I not only get to see that record, but I'm going to be doing a David Wright only show, probably sometime in July. As all of you know, David Wright's going to be retiring his number. That's my guy. Like a lot of my friends, Darryl Strawberry was their guy. When they went to go see his number retired, they were all crying like a bunch of babies. I'm sure I'm not going to be without tears streaming down my face. David Wright was everything that a Met fan should be. He wore that jersey proudly. And, it's going to be really, really humbling and really cool to see him retire his jersey, and more importantly, retire his captainhood. He was the last Mets captain that they've had, and that's something that, the Mets have only had 4. They don't really give that title out too often. As a matter of fact, I don't even think a lot of baseball teams do either. I think the Mets and Yankees have. I know the Royals do it, which is kind of weird. But maybe captains are just a New York sports thing. I don't know, because I know the Rangers and Islanders, they have their captains, and the Giants and Jets have had theirs. I don't know, maybe it is a New York thing. I got to ask some friends about that. But, he's going to be giving up his captainhood, and that's going to be emotional because a lot of people have been speculating maybe he's going to give it up to someone else. I've had some debates on this. Some people think it should be a co-captainhood between him and Pete Alonso. I don't think that's kind of Pete's thing. I don't really think he's the captain kind of guy. Honestly, I think it should go to Francisco Lindor. Guy has embraced New York since he's gotten here. He's won the fans over. He's, repeatedly just put his heart and soul on the field every single day. And he calls meetings and he tells guys how they can do better. He puts himself accountable. He definitely should be the captain. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a co-captain thing. The Mets might do something silly and corny like that. I don't know. I don't really think it's corny, but they've been saying maybe Brandon Nimmo should be the captain as well. I don't really know. A co-captain thing might be cool. I don't know if that's something you guys want to chime in on the Discord, on the email. You could also mail your questions in. That's, anything Met related would be something fun, maybe like a Q&A. But, that's really, I think that might be it for today's show. Again, very excited for opening day. Less than 2 days away. Met fans, let's go chase that title, okay? We're no longer the little brother team in New York. Let's take over the city. Let's do it proudly. Let's do it with honor. Let's not do it with, let's not do it rudely like all those rude Yankee fans that we don't like. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's my first one, so thank you guys for joining today's show. This is the Optimistic Met Fan. I don't know any other way to be. That's how I was bred. So, let's go Mets. Let's go Clay Holmes. Let's prove to the Yankees that they shouldn't have got rid of you, buddy. All right, I'm rooting for you. Again, opening day is in 2 days against the Houston Astros, 4 p.m. on SNY. All right, see you guys next week.